This event is sponsored by the Vancouver-based South Asian Network for Secularism and Democracy, the Montreal-based Center for Research, the Montreal-based Center for Research and Study in South Asia. There are Indian farmer support groups from Vancouver and Montreal, and the Winnipeg-based Geopolitical Economic Research Group. I'm speaking from Winnipeg in Manitoba, Canada, which is located on the stolen lands of Anishinaabe Cree, Ozy Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. So let us turn to today's meeting.
जैसे कि आप में कई लोग जानते हैं कि सितंबर 2020 में भारत
As most of you know, for more than a year, hundreds of thousands of Indian farmers protested peacefully on the borders of New Delhi against the 3 pro-corporate farm laws enacted by the Indian government in September 2000. But many may not know is that the agitation started in Punjab when farmers occupied symbols of corporate powers such as toll plazas, Reliance gas stations, and shopping centers indefinitely. The most important and progressive of the more than 40 organizations that took part was the Bharatiya Kisan Union, Ekta Ugrahan, the largest farmers union in Punjab.
Sorry, I need the co-hosts to mute as well, because otherwise the live stream is not coming out correctly. Yeah. BKU एकता उग्रहण पंजाब का सबसे बड़ा किसान संघ है. इस संघ किसान
संगठन is the largest organization from Punjab. The BKU Ekta Ugrahan is distinguished among farmers' organizations for being the most disciplined and having the largest participation of women members. This farmers' union believes that the farmers' interests are inseparably linked to those of the farm workers and Dalits of India. Over the past year, farmers from around India faced brutal repressive policing, including water cannons, tear gas, and barricades, COVID, and the near freezing conditions of Delhi winters. They suspended their protest on December 9, 2021, when the Indian Parliament formally repealed the 3 farm laws and promised to withdraw all cases filed against farmers and their supporters. More than 700 farmers died during the year-long protest. The farmers' agitations for the repeal of pro-corporate farm laws has become the largest and most sustained non-violent movement in the world. Their agitation was supported by the Indian diaspora throughout North America.
हासिल करने और सार्वजनिक वितरण प्रणाली यानी कि पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम को मजबूत करने के लिए बहुत करना बाकी है.
The demands of MSP and PDS, which is public distribution system, are still pending. So there are new questions for the farmer unions, as there are state elections in 5 states, with state assembly elections in 5 states, including UP and Punjab, upcoming. A number of farmers unions in Punjab has decided to field candidates. However, the Bharatiya Kisan Union, Ekta Ugrahan, the largest farmers union in Punjab, has decided against this say in the Punjab Assembly election. What is the rationale of this election? How will it help the farmers movement, which has much more to achieve? Welcome, Joginder Singh ji.
हेलो हेलो
हाँ, जोगिंदर सिंह जी, आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है।
हाँ, थैंक यू जी।
अच्छा, श्री जोगिंदर सिंह उग्राहां बीकेयू एकता के नेता है।
Mr. Joginder Singh Ugrahan is the leader of BKU Ekta Ugrahan. Mr. Ugrahan was part of 9-member committee that led the Samyukt Kisan Morcha, which is United Farmers Struggle. He is known as the most uncompromising farm union leader and defender of farmers and the most influential union leader in Punjab. He has participated in various farmers' struggles in Punjab since the 70s. Under his leadership, the BKU Ekta Ugrahan has fought and won numerous struggles in Punjab, including struggles for better price for crops and against forced acquisition of land by the state for corporate projects.
उनके नेतृत्व में 10 दिसंबर 2000
Under his leadership, on International Human Rights Day on December 10, 2020, BKU Ugrahan was the only union that asked for the release of all political prisoners in India. The order of proceedings will be as follows. My colleague Daljit Singh Surya will introduce Ugrahan Sahab more fully. Then Ugrahan Sahab will speak for about 30 minutes and then we will have questions and answers. Please feel free to put your questions in Punjabi, Hindi or English. We have the means to translate as necessary.
उग्रहण साहब के लिए शुक्रिया के कुछ लफ्ज बोलेंगे। तो दलजीत सिंह, अब आप जोगिंदर सिंह जी का विस्तार में परिचय दीजिए।
Daljit Singh will introduce. Thank you, Professor Radhika. Today we have the most influential personality of 2020 farm agitation. I welcome Joginder Singh Ugrahan. I thank him for joining us. Joginder Singh lives in a village in Sunam area of Punjab. So he was in Indian Army in 1970. So he has talked about in an interview to print that he was associated with agriculture right from the beginning. So after army, he came back to farming and started agriculture in his land. And while involved in agriculture, he realized that there are issues of agriculture. Please mute yourself.
हेलो, हाँ जी, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ठीक है जी।
सरदार जोगिंदर सिंह उग्राहां जी खेती ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ
Along with farming, he started participating in the struggles of farmers and workers. With these thoughts, he was instrumental in forming a new organization which was named as BKU Ekta Ugrahan. BKU Ekta Ugrahan is active on the issues of farmers for last 20 years.
ਦਿੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਚ ਉਗਰਾਹਾਂ ਜੀ
In his interview to Bhasha Singh of NewsClick, he stated that his organization is involved in struggles against the state, whether the issues are of farmers or workers or women. Along with farmers and workers issues, they are involved in struggles against drugs. As part of these struggles, when Modi government passed 3 farm laws in 2019, they became active and they started mobilizing people in Punjab. In 2018, when Modi government passed citizenship laws, so at that time, their organization supported the protest against CAA, which is Citizenship Amendment Act. So his organization was one of the organizations who started that agitation right in the beginning and supported it wholeheartedly. In the recent event, their organization was instrumental in mobilizing other organizations and moving towards Delhi. So his organization gathered at the border of Tikri, which is one of the borders of Delhi. So they were determined and uncompromising and kept the protest going. And lakhs of people participated in the protest under the leadership. On the one hand, there were displays of langars like pizza and other things. And on the other hand, BKU Ekta Ugrahan were raising the demands of a release of political prisoners who are in jails, or the issues of farmers who have committed suicide and other issues. It was quite easy for people to go and speak on the stage of Samyukt Kisan Morcha, but on the other hand, there was protest of BKU Ugrahan, where each and every speaker was allowed to speak after stating his convictions and ideology clearly before the organizers. So they didn't allow anyone without clarifying their thoughts. So they let the singers perform on the stage after checking the content of their songs. So I'll not take much time. I'll request Mr. Ugrahan to present his ideas. Mr. Ugrahan, please unmute yourself and go ahead with your speech. Can you hear me?
मैं भारतीय किसान यूनियन एकता उग्राहां दा सूबा प्रधान जोगिंदर सिंह उग्राहां.
I'm state president of BKU Ekta Ugrahan. Today I'm talking to you.
भारतीय किसान यूनियन एकता उग्राहां एक किसान जथेबंदी है.
BKU Ekta Ugrahan is a farmers organization. It is an organization which is trade union. We are associated with agriculture. As more than 70% Indian people are associated with farmers, whether they are workers or they are farmers. I mean to say that they are dependent on farming. For last 7 decades, when India became independent, the profession of agriculture, it has registered the increase in production, but the people involved in agriculture are becoming worse and worse. As the employment in field is decreasing and the land holdings are decreasing. Size of land holding is decreasing, debt is increasing, income is decreasing.
ਮੁਨਾਫੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਧੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ।
So that way, agriculture is not a profitable profession.
ਅਸੀਂ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੈ,
We
ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਨੇ
made our organization
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਚਾਉਣਾ,
taking all these issues into account.
ਬਚਾਉਣਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ
We
ਇਹ ਧੰਦਾ ਬਚਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ।
understand that
ਇਹ
the governments are not going to save this profession.
ਦੇ ਕੁਝ
Only
ਅਸੂਲ
organized
ਨੇ
people
ਕਿ ਇਹ
can
ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ
save themselves. So we have
ਵੱਖ
some ideas
ਤੇ ਜਾਤਾਂ
of our organization.
ਉੱਠ ਕੇ
It is a secular organization which don't believe in casteism
ਇਲਾਕਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਉੱਠ
and
ਕੇ
religion.
ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਬਣੂਗੀ,
It is beyond reasons, religion
ਲੜੂਗੀ,
and castes
ਧਰਮ ਦਾ ਤੇ
which will
ਜਾਤ
be
ਦਾ
involved in
ਇਲਾਕੇ ਦਾ
struggle
ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ
of the
ਨਹੀਂ।
trade or profession.
ਇਹ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ
So it has nothing to do
ਮੈਂਬਰ
with religion or region,
ਚੋਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਊਗਾ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ
and no
ਪੰਚਾਇਤ
member of the
ਹੋਵੇ,
organization will participate in
ਭਾਵੇਂ
elections,
ਉਹ ਪਾਰਟੀ
whether it is
ਦਾ
panchayat
ਹੋਵੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ
or it is parliament or state assemblies.
ਅਸੀਂ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਤੋਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਾਸੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ।
As far as elections are concerned, we remain away from the elections.
ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੁੱਟ ਪਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ,
The
ਸਾਡੇ
logic
ਵਿੱਚ
behind this
ਪਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ,
understanding is that
ਚੋਣਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ
elections
ਲੜਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ।
create disunity among the farmers and workers. The system of elections as it is happening in India, most of the political parties create disunity among the people, and people start fighting against each other, and ruling classes take benefit of that kind of disunity or disharmony. So we don't indulge in elections. That is our specificity. This was something which was important in the daily struggle. So we could win that election because of 2 points. We didn't let it associate with any religion or region or caste, or we didn't let political parties and their leaders to come to our stage. So as a result, this agitation became successful. We understand that these are the reasons that the farmer struggle has become example all over the world. And the politics of mainstream parties revolve around this. But as we could distance ourselves from that kind of politics, which became vital for our success. It is tragic that some of our comrades are there and they have decided to fight elections, whereas our struggle is still not complete. We have suspended the struggle from Delhi. We need to take this stand that the farmers' organizations, the unions which formed United Farmers Movement, so the people who are involved in the elections have no connection with the United Farmers struggle. Our organization stand committed that we have neither supported any political party in any elections, nor we support any political party, whereas our members are free to vote to any political party. It's their choice. This is our understanding. Next issue is of agrarian crisis. The most important reason of agrarian crisis is that the farmers have small land holdings.
ਕੋਲੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਦੀ ਘਾਟ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁੱਲ
In
ਜ਼ਮੀਨ
Punjab,
ਰਕਬਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ 1 ਕਰੋੜ 5 ਲੱਖ ਏਕੜ ਹੈ
we have 1.5 crore, that is 15 million acres of land,
ਇਹੋ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈ
and people
ਦੋ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 5 ਏਕੜ
are dependent on this land. And most of the people
ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ
who are farmers,
ਖੇਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ
their land holding
ਆਮਦਨ ਦੇ
is
ਨਾਲ
less than 5
ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਾ
acres.
ਕਰਨਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈ।
It is really difficult for them to survive on agriculture.
ਵੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਠੇਕੇ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ
So the people who have smaller land holdings, they take land on lease from other farmers. So this way the input cost is increasing day by day and the income is decreasing.
ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂ ਬੈਂਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਹੂ
So in order to
ਕਰਜ਼ਾ
meet their needs, farmers are compelled to take loan from banks or private money lenders.
1 ਲੱਖ
So
ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਇਆ ਕਰਜ਼ਾ ਚੜ ਗਿਆ
So the farmers of Punjab are under debt, which amounts to more than 1 lakh crore rupees.
ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਖੁਦਕੁਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ
So as people are unable to meet their
ਯਾਨੀ ਇਹ ਮੰਨ
needs, so
ਹਾਕਮ ਵੀ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਨੇ,
under
ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਵੀ
distress,
ਮੰਨਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ।
farmers are committing suicide.
ਘਾਟੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਧੰਦਾ
Everyone acknowledge, including government, that agriculture is not a profitable
ਪੈ ਗਿਆ
profession.
ਇਹ ਘਾਟੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਧੰਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇਹਦੇ
Why is this a non-profitable profession?
ਕਾਰਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ
What are the reasons behind it?
ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਹਕੂਮਤਾਂ ਇਹੋ
Our
ਜਿਹੇ
governments
ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ
are
ਲੈ ਕੇ
not
ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ,
addressing the
ਇਹੋ
basic
ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਨੀਤੀਆਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ
reasons
ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ,
behind the agrarian crisis.
ਧੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਘਾਟੇ
On the
ਚ
other hand, they are
ਰਹੀਆਂ, ਸਗੋਂ
forming
ਇਹਦੇ
policies
ਹੋਰ ਇਹਦੇ
which are not
ਵਿੱਚ
inclined
ਆਪਣਾ
to address
ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ
the
ਦਾ
agrarian crisis
ਇਹ ਧੰਦੇ
or
ਨੂੰ
to
ਖਤਮ
work for the relief of the farmers. So they are trying to
ਜੁਰਮੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਖੇਤੀ
form
ਨਾਲ
policies
ਜੁੜੀਆਂ
which are anti-government.
ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਟ ਦਾ ਦਾਖਲ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਟਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ 3 ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਬਣਾਏ
So they are facilitating the intervention of corporates.
ਜ਼ਮੀਨ
The 3 farm laws we struggled against
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਖੇਤੀ
were
ਜ਼ਮੀਨ
part of
ਪਹਿਲੇ
these
ਤਾਂ
kind of
ਨਹੀਂ,
policies.
ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਮੰਡੀਆਂ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਐਮਐਸਪੀ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜੂਗੀ ਤੇ ਅਨਾਜ
It is well known that agriculture is non-profitable and the government assured marketing system is shrinking, or they want to close it and they want to hand over the sector of agriculture to corporates. Once it is in their control, they can fix the prices, they can. So it is part of the new economic policies or reforms. So they have done this in other sectors, as they have done it in electricity sector, railways, shipping, coal mines, and other sectors. These sectors have been handed over to the corporate sector. So their policies are not inclined to save agriculture. They are trying to take agriculture sector in the same way. So they are trying to assure corporate intervention in the sector. So, and most of the basic facilities are out of reach of the people, as corporates have intervened in almost all the sector, whether it is health or agriculture or it is education. So we mobilize people and we tell people that this is a big battle. It is against the corporate sectors and only farmers can't fight this battle and take to the victory. So we need to unite farmers, farm workers, and all those people who are facing the adverse impact of these policies. As long as we don't unite people and make them participate in the struggles against the corporate and state, the ruling class aggression can't be stopped. So the ruling classes are inclined to create disharmony and disunity among people, and they want to implement policies which are to ensure profit for the corporates. So they claim that through these policies, they want to double the income of farmers in a limited times. But they couldn't state or prove or tell us that such policies have been implemented somewhere else and the farmers are happy and are in good situation somewhere else. They couldn't cite any example of that kind. So they implemented similar kind of laws in Bihar in 2006. So the minimum support price is implemented in Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP. In rest of India, MSP is not ensured as it is not implemented. So they want to take these policies back from Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP. We understand that the character of such policies is imperialist and they are playing in the hands of the corporates. And most of the decisions have the stamp of international financial organizations like World Bank and IMF. So whatever decisions IMF and World Bank are taking, there are laws which are being passed by the parliament on the same lines. So they are hell-bent to book people who oppose those policies under extraordinary laws like UAPA. So under such laws, you can't even ask the government why these people have been booked. So it is against the right to speak. So they don't want people to write against these policies or sing song or wield struggles against these policies. So the government want to implement the policies of the corporate. So they are imposing those policies against us. So these international financial organizations are organizations of imperialist countries and capitalists. Indian ruling establishment implement the policies articulated by those international organizations. The system that we have in India is inclined to make all those laws possible in parliament. So the international organizations want that there should be no government procurement and there should be no stock and no government procurement of agriculture produce. So if you want to finish the government marketing system and if you want to hand over all these things to the corporate so that they could do whatever they feel like, it will adversely impact the income of farmers. So we the farmers are trying to meet the daily needs by selling lands and taking loans. So now new policies are trying to implement policies which will hand over our lands to corporates. So as they have done in other sectors, it will have huge impact on small shopkeepers and all the working people and small entrepreneurs. It will increase their purchasing power, so they'll not be able to meet their demands by their salaries. So it will create a different kind of crisis. So we don't want such conditions to prevail in India. In this scenario, struggle is the only way out. This is our experience. So it was not the elected government which forced the government to withdraw the laws. There were farmers who were defaulters, and the government agencies have issued warrants against those farmers. So they booked thousands of farmers. No elected representative came to help the people who were arrested during different struggles. It was a struggle that we got the farmers' leaders or the people's leader who were convicted under false cases are released. So the Supreme Court has given a decision against our leader whose name is Manjeet Taner. He was part of a struggle which was wielded against the people who were involved in rape and murder of a student. So they got those culprits booked under the law. As a result, the government conspired and got Manjeet Taner booked in false case, and he was convicted from the Supreme Court. So but people struggled against that conviction, and we got him released through people's power. So there were lands which was acquired by the companies, and they have already made the payments, and it was not the elected representatives who got their compensation increased. It was the struggles and mass organizations which struggled and fought and got the compensation increased. So if we want that people should have their rights and the corporate plunder should be stopped, then we need to go and join in struggles. We need to mobilize people against these corporates and the people who are making policies in their support. If we want to save our country and people and the environment, and people could be saved from the diseases which are curable, and the poverty need to be eliminated. If we want the equality to prevail and there should be no disparity, then we need to mobilize and struggle. There was a news report that there was huge chunk of land which can be converted into cultivable land with small investments. So people, whether they are farmers or workers, they can get employment over there. So if the government will have interest in providing employment to people, then they will do this. But thus government is hell-bent and implement policies which are forcing employment to shrink. As an example, electricity board was built, and there was 125,000 employees in the electricity board of Punjab. So then the infrastructure increased manifold. Now the number of employees is 45,000, whereas 300,000 people were required in that department. As a result, it is hurting the working people and it is helping the corporates. We have elected people. As we are facing this question again and again that we need to fight elections, our argument is that the people who are in the parliament toe the line of corporates. They have signed agreements with international financial organizations. As long as the governments in India will go by the international financial institutions, the situation will remain so. So we make people aware that this is the situation here. So as it was stated right in the beginning by Professor Radhika Desai, when we started the agitation in Punjab, we targeted corporate. We started protest outside the corporate businesses, and we make the people aware that these are the corporates which are responsible for such policies. People targeted Advani's and Adani. There was a news report that Ambani's is the 9th largest money holder of the world. So in Punjab, we targeted those people and identify their businesses in Punjab. So we closed their toll plazas, their shopping malls. So as a result, people became aware about this. That is one of the reasons that in the ongoing elections in Punjab, people are asking questions to the mainstream political parties and their leaders as they are going out for election campaigns. So we say that we should not look towards the government and people should defend themselves. This is our slogan. That is one of the reasons that most of the big organizations are not participating in the elections, as they believe in struggles. So they are challenging the rulers. This is something important characteristics of our struggle. It is said that there were 40 organizations involved. No, they were not 40. So there are 40 organizations in Punjab. So there are more than 60 organizations in Haryana, and there are more than 300 organizations involved from UP. In total, there were 375 organizations involved in the struggle. We are putting efforts to expand the struggle.
ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਖਿੱਤੇ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ
We
ਨੂੰ
understand
ਕਿ
that
ਇੱਕ
this
ਜਮਾਤ ਤੋਂ
assault of corporate
ਮਿਹਨਤ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ
can't
ਨੂੰ,
be
ਸੰਤੀ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ,
stopped
ਛੋਟੇ
from
ਦੁਕਾਨਦਾਰਾਂ
a
ਨੂੰ,
state
ਛੋਟੇ ਖਨਤਕਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ,
or by the farmers only. So we need to mobilize all the farmers, workers, small shopkeepers, employees, unemployed people, and students, and they need to struggle against the state as there is no other reason. We believe in it and we are on that path. So we'll keep on these struggle as long as we don't achieve the targets, the intended targets.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका. एक सेकंड.
Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका जोगिंदर सिंह जी.
Thank you very much, Joginder Singh.
जो कह रहे हैं हमें बहुत ही हमें इन्फॉर्म करते हैं, हमें बहुत जानना मिला. तो अब
So your speech was really
कुछ सवाल लेंगे,
informing us. We will take some questions.
शायद जवाब देंगे. तो
You need to respond to those questions.
एक मेरी भूल है, इसको सही करना चाहती हूँ. मुझे
I want
कहना
to correct myself.
जो संगठन इसका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कर रहे हैं उनमें से एक बहुत बड़ा संगठन है पंजाबी लिटरेरी एंड कल्चरल एसोसिएशन जो विनिपेग से है. तो इसके
I forgot to mention one of the organization from Winnipeg. They are the big organization.
तो मैं देख रही हूँ कि अवतार सिंह जी आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं, पूछ
I
लीजिए.
say Avtar Singh want to ask something. Thank you, Radhika. And Mr. Ugrahan.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ
आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा. एक सेकंड.
Yeah, he's on mute. He's okay. I can hear him.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Radhika ji, और धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, Joginder Ugrahan. I'm Avtar Singh. I'm working in Rationalist Society, Canada.
ਸੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਉਗਰਾਹਾਂ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਾ ਪਾਤਰ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਮੁੱਚੇ ਕਿਸਾਨੀ
I congratulate your organization for all what you told us about your organization. You deserve to be congratulated, and all those who participated in the struggle deserve to be congratulated. Whichever way people contributed in the struggle, they should be congratulated. So there were efforts to create disunity in the struggle, and it is really happy to note that those conspiracies couldn't prevail. I just want to raise a couple of points. Then other people can ask questions. You mentioned that you are not participating in the election. I understand that this is the right decision. When we say that voters are allowed to vote, so when we say this, that voters are free to vote, it means that we are giving a kind of indication to our cadre to vote some specific party. Shouldn't you give the call to make the choice of nota, which is no candidate deserve to be elected? Should you propagate that people should press nota? The second question is about the struggle which went on for more than 1 year. Other states participated in that. Uttar Pradesh was there, and there were some people from Rajasthan. Other states have participated, but the participation was not as much as it was from Punjab and Haryana. What is the reason behind less participation from other states? What were the barriers? And the last question.
ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਗੋਦਾਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆ ਸਟਾਕ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਟ ਘਰਾਣੇ
When you say that they are trying to implement agreements of World Trade Organization, which is corporatization of the agriculture,
ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸਮਝ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਵੀ
that is understandable.
ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਝੋਨੇ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ
My point is about the wheat paddy agriculture cycle, as it has depleted groundwater table in Punjab. Can we think about some alternative agriculture cycle?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਸਵਾਲ ਦੇਵਾਂ ਜੀ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਵਾਂ
Yes. Should I respond?
Yes, please. आप जवाब दीजिए.
Please respond.
ਮੈਂ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਣਾ ਅਵਤਾਰ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਦਾ
I'm responding to Mr. Avatar.
ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਹੀ ਅਵਤਾਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੇਡਰ ਨੂੰ
First point is that we let our cadre vote to whosoever they want. That we
ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ
that they are not opposing the parties. Our position is that we raise questions and we ask questions to all the political parties.
ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲਾ ਛੱਡਣ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਬਹੁਤ
We
ਨਵਾਂ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ
let them
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ
exercise their right to vote.
ਜਾਣਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ
As we consider that most of the people who have joined our organization are new. So earlier we were working in 600 villages. Now we have expanded to 1600 villages. So some of them assume that we will ensure that there will be a government procurement and there will be no action against the loan defaulters. So most of the people assume that these are the reasons of them joining the organization. So we let them exercise their right to vote. So they can decide not to vote. So they have right to vote, they can exercise that. We just tell them that it will not help them in any way. If we will ask them not to vote anybody, then they will have a kind of understanding that had they voted someone, it might have given them some relief. So we don't want to propagate nota. So we don't want to impose these choices on them. So if there is someone who want to choose that option, we don't stop them from opting that option. So most of the cadre is new. We let them, so they will have their own experiences. We have seen that in couple of years, most of the cadre who vote, they get disillusioned and then they understand. So the next question is about the farmer unions expansion in other states. So this agitation was focused in Delhi and adjoining states like Rajasthan, UP and Haryana, Punjab. Punjab is aware of the issue. Punjab has gone to different states to participate in rallies. In Madhya Pradesh, there are no such organizations. So most of the mass organizations are under political influence. So there are some organizations associated with Communist Party of India and Communist Marxist Party of India. They are not that active. So those are the states which are not familiar with the idea of minimum support price. So now they have come to know, now they have realized that the paddy price in Punjab is more than 2000, whereas the price that they are getting in Madhya Pradesh is around 800. So now they have realized that they are suffering the losses due to non-existence of the government procurement system.
ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਟੇਟਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਆਈਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਪੱਧਰ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈਆਂ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ
It doesn't mean that people from those states have not participated in the struggle. They have participated, but not at that level. So whenever we gave an all India call, and the call was implemented in most of the states, whether it was Kerala, students in the universities participated in the struggles and implemented all India calls. So the mobilization depend on the capacity of the organizations. Third is the issue of water depletion in Punjab. You talk about organic agriculture. We say that environment is an important issue. We had not asked for paddy. So there were experts who were suggesting that there should be no paddy in Punjab. So there are states where we have 2000 mm rainfall annually, whereas in Punjab most of the area get 500 mm rainfall. So with the policy of green revolution implemented in Punjab, the water table has depleted. So now we want, if we have to grow paddy, then they should give MSP for those varieties which consume less water. They can give us MSP of crops like sugarcane and maize. So paddy is a problem for us, whether it is the stubble burning or it is the moisture level. So we want to solve this solution. We don't support the water guzzling crop pattern. We are okay to grow pulses if they are ready to buy that. That will save water and environment. And it demand less chemical fertilizers, pesticides. So this is up to the government that they should have a marketing system which ensure procurement. It is not our problem. It is the government policies which are at fault. Thank you very much. There are other questions. I request everybody that they should ask questions which are brief so that others can get chance to ask questions. I see Polly want to ask something.
हाँ जी मेरा एक पहले तो है कि उग्राहां साहब का तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इतनी स्पष्ट तरीके से उन्होंने समझाया पूरी बात समझाई संक्षेप में
I thanks Mr. Ugrahan for this speech. My question is about the farmer struggle.
उसको उस टाइम पे बंद करना या रोकना पॉज करना ठीक था कि उसको आगे चलने देना चाहिए था जब इतनी momentum.
My question is about the agitation when it was at a peak and then people were emotionally invested in the moment. Was it okay to suspend the agitation or they should have continued? Thank you very much. Joginder ji, please respond. The movement started from Punjab. It was against the 3 farm laws. The main issue was 3 farm laws. It was a struggle to get those laws terminated. People celebrated the withdrawal of those laws. So those farm laws were the main issues for most of the people. So there were other demands like electricity bill, minimum support price, and then people who got implicated in false cases during the struggle. Then there were other events which created new demands, like there was an event in Lakhimpuri where protesters were trampled by the vehicle of a political leader. We have not we have just suspended the struggle, or you may say that it has been postponed. So we decided in a meeting on January 15 that we are going to protest all over India on 31st of January against the BJP, the ruling party. So our demands are that people who are involved in the case of Lakhimpuri, they should be booked, there should be proper legal action against them, and there should be MSP and PDS. We are in the struggle and we are continuing with the struggle.
जोगिंदर सिंह जी, अब हम एक प्रश्न चैट में से लेंगे. Navsharan,
I'll take
please chat में से
a question from the chat. Now Sharan will ask a question.
एक सवाल आया है चैट विच वो पूछ रहे हैं.
There is a question in the chat.
कुछ जथेबंदियां ने ਜਦੋਂ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਲੜਨ
It's a question that some organizations
ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕੰਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਵੰਡੀ ਪੈ ਗਈ ਹੈ. ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ
that some organizations have decided to contest elections there. So there seems to be a kind of disunity in the farmers movement. How can this be bridged? This disunity can be addressed easily. You need to understand that Samyukt Kisan Morcha, so the people who are contesting election, they have disconnected themselves from the Samyukt Kisan Morcha. So they will not be part of the Samyukt Kisan Morcha. So there is a debate that some organizations have been suspended, whereas this word was not used in the meeting. So it was addressed that they are out of the struggle. As they are on leave for some time, they'll come back. So the new political party, which is SSM, so they have distanced themselves from the Samyukt Kisan Morcha. SSM is a political party, and the Samyukt Kisan Morcha don't allow political parties to come to their stage. So this decision is taken under the understanding which we had previously. So we continue with the same understanding.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. अब हम
Thank you very much.
फ्लोर से लेंगे, यानी सुखवंत सिंह जी, प्लीज गो अहेड, आप सवाल पूछिए.
Sukhwant Singh will ask a question.
ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਿਖਤ ਆ ਵੀ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਭਲੇ ਦੀ ਝਾਕ ਛੱਡੋ, ਹੱਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਲਈ
Your union has published a pamphlet that people should not look for the electoral system and you should depend on the struggle. You state that people should not depend on the election, that rather they should be part of militant struggles. So the struggles, the political power will emerge through the struggles. what will be the form of this political power that will emerge from the people's politics? You see the protest, and we understand that the awareness of people increase in the struggles. So their conviction increases during the struggles. When people force government to take its decision back, then the trust on the organizations and the leadership increases. So the awareness increases. We are talking about the new movement. So we are part of a mass organization. It means that people need a kind of alternative, and we talk about that alternative, and we understand that alternative will emerge from the struggles. So if the people will unite, the educated people will join the struggles, they will make this obvious that we need a kind of system where workers are respected, and they will get good health facilities and education facilities, and there can be a party who can work for the welfare of the people. So this pamphlet states, we mention that when elections arrive, most of the people get swayed away and they join the political parties. But today is January 30 and tomorrow is 31. Tomorrow we are organizing protests at every district. You will find that thousands of people will participate in those protests, and it is happening during the elections. It will be one of its kind that during elections such protests are happening and people are participating in such large number. This is the result of the movement. So we assume that some political power or party will emerge out of such struggles. Mr. Ugrahan, there is another question. It has come in the chat. It states that you let your cadre choose. You are a disciplined organization. Does it mean that you let them go out of the discipline, or you are not in a capacity to impose that kind of discipline on the cadre? So you have allowed them to make their choice, their own choices. You let your cadre vote. So whomsoever they vote. So if the person get elected, whomsoever they vote, if the person get elected, then how will they wield the struggle against that person? So the answer of this question is very much there in the question itself. I have already answered this question. So we have got new cadre who are not familiar with our policies and the organization. As the organization grow along with the struggle. So there are people who are in the struggle and with our organization. They say that earlier they were active in the Akali politics or in some communist party politics. So their aspiration associated with the mainstream policy, mainstream politics is still there. So we can't issue them dictate that they should not participate or they should make the choices which we are imposing on them. So we implement discipline as much as we can implement against them. So we make them aware that this system will not get anything. Still, we give them the choice so they can vote. Through this process, they will get the answer of their questions. So whomsoever they will elect, it will not help. So no elected leader help them in crisis whenever they are defaulters and the banks are taking actions against the defaulters. So when the land was acquired in Govindpura, no elected leader came to support the struggle. So we understand that through this process, they will understand and they will become aware of this whole situation.
बहुत धन्यवाद जोगिंदर साहब. अब
Thank you very much, Joginder ji. Sharon, you want to say?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. अब मैं एक बात आपको बता दूंगी कि बहुत सारे प्रश्न है. आप तो देख रहे हैं कि
So there are many questions.
पूछना चाहते हैं. दूसरे 5, 6, 7 प्रश्न चैट में हैं. तो अगर आप
So there are questions in the chat and there are people who have raised their hands.
विनती करूंगी कि आप अपना प्रश्न पूछें.
So now I'll request Vijay Sampla to ask the question. Thank you, Radhika ji. First of all,
उनको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं.
so I thank all the organizers of the event and I thank Mr. Ugrahan that he has spared time for the event.
तो मेरा ये सवाल था उग्राहन जी से कि हम लोग कभी भी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट होने के बाद उसका सॉल्यूशन ढूंढने के लिए आगे आते हैं.
My question is about this, that most of the time we come in the field when the problem is there. Why don't we address the issue when the problem is in the making? So whenever the laws are made, so laws come from the system.
इसके लिए मैं उनके विचार सुनना.
Why don't we focus on the root cause?
जोगिंदर सिंह जी.
सर विजय सांपला जी, पहले तो हमें सबसे बड़ी बात तो ये है कि हमें किसी देश के अंदर जब हम रह रहे हैं, उस देश का खासा क्या है, वो देश दी.
First of all, we need to understand the state character of a country. We are living in a country. If our country is playing in the hand of some other people, we need to understand
हाँ आ रही है.
ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੇ
we need
ਤੁਸੀਂ
to
ਕਹਿੰਦੇ
understand
ਕਿ ਬਣਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਨੱਪਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ.
that the laws passed by the parliament, as you say that we should stop these laws in the parliament. Actually, you are illusioned that former President Narasimha Rao signed WTO agreement. No law was passed in the parliament. You can't cite any such law. Under World Trade Organization's law, when India signed WTO agreements, there was no debate in the parliament. So these laws are formulated according to those policies. So the government education system has been unbundled under those policies, under the directions of those under international agreements. Due to similar policies, there is privatization. big forces and big corporates are involved in these policies. The people who are involved in the struggle, they need to know, they need to understand where is the root cause of the whole problem. We need to mobilize people at the grassroots level. So only then we can stop these policies from being formulated or implemented. No power is bigger than the people's power. Once people are ready and aware, they will get these issues solved. You need to
धन्यवाद
rethink
जोगी
about your points.
धन्यवाद जोगिंदर सिंह जी एक और सवाल है चैट में से राणा
There
बोस
is another question.
कि ये क्या मुमकिन है कि उग्रह एकता यूनियन सामूहिक रूप से जो चलने वाली जो संगठन है यानी कि अंग्रेजी में
Is
जो
it
कहते
possible?
हैं उसका निर्माण करें और क्या
Is
ये
it possible for BKU Ugrahan to
राजनीतिक संघर्ष को आगे बढ़ा
make
सकती है?
a collective?
कलेक्टिव्स शहरों के जो मजदूर हैं उनके साथ बहुत ही असली एकता बना सकती
Can
है
this collective form a unity with the urban workers? It's a very important question. We understand that we can't fight this struggle alone. It was not just farmers who got these laws terminated. Farm workers were there, small shopkeepers were there, unemployed people were there, students were there. We can't fight this big battle alone. We can't win it alone. We need to unite farm workers, industrial workers, and other communities. There's no agitation we don't support now. We support each and every struggle, whichever help is required. We help them by organizing community food or by participating in their protests. At times, we send our leaders to make solidarity speeches. At times, we get involved in the organizations like organizing the langar. We support each and every struggle, whether the struggle is by the Anganwadi workers or by medical practitioners or by students or by employees. So we support other struggles so that we can forge a bigger unity. It's a big battle and it's a big struggle, so it can't be fought without the unity.
उनका सवाल सहयोग के बारे में नहीं था, लेकिन सामूहिक संगठन यानी कि कलेक्टिव्स यानी कि जिसमें
I may not have translated it properly. Their question is not about the support.
साथ में सामूहिक तरीके से उसका यानी वो खेती करे और क्या ये
it was about collective or cooperative farming. Is it possible that if you promote cooperative farming, we have not tried this. We have not tried this. We have not thought about the cooperative agriculture or collective agriculture.
विकसित करने का कैसे है इससे अभी ये बात उस समय आएगी जब वाकई समस्या है बड़ी समस्याएं हल हो जाएगी उसके बाद में
This question will come when the other issues at hand are solved. Only then we can think about whether there should be collective farming or cooperative farming. So now we are struggling on the issues like marketing, about the input costs, about the increasing rates of diesel and petrol. or the indebtedness of the farmers, or the shrinking unemployment, shrinking employment. We have not thought about it. We will think it at the right time. So I'll read another question. Please ask your question.
Thank you, Radhika ji.
Thank you, Radhika.
Ugrahan साहब तो ये पूछना चाहना
I want to ask Mr. Ugrahan.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਹੈ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਦੇ ਸਹੀ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਸਹੀ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਆਪਰੇਟ ਕਰੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਵਰਗਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਕੁਅਲ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਸ਼ਨ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ
There should be equal participation of all sections of the society in a democracy.
ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ 60% ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਪਾਪੂਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਕਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ
Farmers are more than 60% in the Indian population.
ਬੜੀ ਮਿਨੀਮਮ ਹੈ ਇੱਕਾ ਦੁੱਕਾ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੈਂਬਲੀ 'ਚ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਜਾਂ
So there are
ਤੇ ਸੋ
insignificant number of farmers who are there in state assemblies and parliament.
representation ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਪਾਵਰ ਹੋਣਗੇ
How can they get empowered without the representation in state assemblies and parliament?
ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਕੰਟੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੜਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ
Indian Constitution allows people to contest elections independently. If you don't want to align, then you can contest elections independently and participate in the policy making. What's your opinion about this?
ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ
See, you are right
ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ
that we can contest elections independently. So there is less number of farmers in the state assemblies and parliament.
ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੰਦਰ ਮਾਨ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ
Your statement is factually correct.
ਖਾਸਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ
We need to understand the character of the parliament.
ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਚੋਣ ਲੜ ਲਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਰੱਖ ਲਓ
We say that you contest election and represent yourself there.
ਚੋਣ ਲੜ ਕੇ ਚੋਣ ਜਿੱਤ ਸਕਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ
Can a poor person contest and win election? Do the character allow? Can any honest person who don't have money contest and win election? Even if an individual wins an election, can they play some effective role in the assemblies or parliament? So what is the whole structure all about?
ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਬਣੀ ਖੜੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਵਿਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ
We understand that the situation in India is such that you can buy votes by paying cash or by distributing liquor or any other drugs. The level of awareness is so low.
ਇਸ ਹਾਲਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕ ਤਾਂ ਇਸੇ ਗੱਲ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਮਗਰ ਤਾਂ 500 ਗੱਡੀ ਹੈ
People get influenced with the display that this leader has a caravan of more than 500 people. How can a person who is contesting election and riding cycle, how can they compete? So people say that the candidate who is on a cycle, how can this person help them? So there is insignificant number of people who are aware. So we say that we shouldn't adopt this strategy of contesting elections. As long as our voters or citizens don't know the meaning of democracy, so contesting election is not a viable option. Mr. Ugrahan, there is another question about the participation of women. During the farmer struggle, the women participated in huge numbers. Your organization mobilized most number of women activists?
ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਜਥੇਬੰਦ ਕੀਤਾ?
There is a question about the women's mobilization.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਜਥੇਬੰਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ
How
ਜਦੋਂ
did you mobilize women and why was it important?
ਉਹ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਅੱਗੋਂ ਕੀ ਸਮਝਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ
Now you have a huge support base of women. How will you address the women's issue?
ਏਜੰਡੇ ਤੇ ਹੈ?
Is the women emancipation on the organization's agenda or not?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ ਜੀ।
Please check if he is connected.
He is connected, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
ਅੱਛਾ, ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਔਰਤਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਦੁਹਰਾ ਦਿਆਂ।
I'm repeating the question.
ਅੱਛਾ ਅੱਛਾ, ਉਹ ਸਵਾਲ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ, ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹੁਣ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼?
Can you hear me now?
ਹਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ।
Yeah,
ਸਵਾਲ
I can.
ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀ ਨੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ,
The question is that your organization mobilized women at large scale and women have participated in the struggle in big numbers. The first question is, why have you specifically mobilized the women? And the second question is, how do you see their role in the organization when they have joined the organization? Is emancipation of women on the agenda of your organization or not? How do you see it?
ਹਾਂ ਨਵਸ਼ਰਨ,
Yes, Navsharan.
ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ, ਅਸੀਂ ਨੇ ਸਮਝਿਆ
We understand
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਹੈ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ
that this struggle
ਲੜਾਈ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੈ,
is a big,
ਔਰਤਾਂ ਸਮਾਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਧੀਆਂ ਨੇ,
and women,
ਅੱਧ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਔਰਤ,
we have 50% of our population who are women, who are involved in domestic work. So they are the biggest contributor in the domestic sector. As long as women don't join the struggles, it is not a people struggle. As long as women don't join the struggles, their family issues can't become part of the public space. So they can be made aware of the situation in the struggles only.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਣਦਾ
Put efforts to make them participate in the election. We ensure their participation and we give them honor, respect, and we make all the required arrangement, whether it is for usual amenities or residences. So there was important question associated with women. One of the issue was drug abuse. Our organization, so our organization decided at the state level that no member of the state committee will consume liquor or any other drug. So our organization, the first organization to take such decision, which ensured that there should be no liquor, as most of the time it was experience that people coming back from protests were using liquor and they were using foul language. So we understood that the consumption of liquor and foul language was main reason that women were not participating in the struggles. So we ensured that during an year-long struggle in Delhi, it was reported on daily basis that how many people are staying there, how many people are coming to the protest, and how many people are going. So there used to be a daily report who is consuming liquor and who are creating nuisance in the evening. Then we had people who were guarding the tents. So we ensured that there was no such incident where males were harassing women. So we used to have weekly meeting of women where we used to ask, is there any issue of toilet or any kind of harassment in the protest? It made the women confident, and we ensured that women used to conduct the stage and they used to be the speakers once in a week when the whole arrangement was in their hand. So now we have more than 60 women speakers who can come and speak at state level agitations. Now we have a capacity to mobilize 100,000 women if we want to organize a state level protest. So let me tell you that on International Women Day, we will do a big event and we will invite you. And still we need to take some initiatives that we will do in the coming days. Thank you very much.
ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਵਾਲ ਗੁਰਮੇਲ ਗਿੱਲ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਅਨਮਿਊਟ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਗੁਰਮੇਲ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਵਾਲ
ਗੁਰਮੇਲ ਗਿੱਲ, please ask your question.
ਜੋਗਿੰਦਰ ਭਾਈ ਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਤਰਕਸ਼ੀਲ ਸੋਸਾਇਟੀ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ।
Mr. Joginder, I am associated with Rationalist Society in Vancouver.
ਲੜਾਈ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿੱਤੀ ਆ, ਇਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਡਾ ਰੋਲ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਜਮਹੂਰੀ ਇਨਕਲਾਬੀ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਇਹੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਸੇਧ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ
The democratic and revolutionary forces have played important role in the victorious struggle. So these were the organizations which motivated other organizations.
ਜੋ ਲੋਕ ਇਸ ਲਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਇਨਕਲਾਬੀ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ
We intend that the organizations which are revolutionary, progressive and democratic, who are not participating in the elections, can we form a platform where all these organizations unite? Is there any initiative in that direction?
देखो गुरमेल जी, ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਬਹੁਤ
We are making efforts as we find that your point is very valid. Our organization understand that ideological differences are one thing and issue-based solidarity is a different issue. So we can forge solidarities on issues. So we can have differences on action plans. You may suggest different action, we may suggest different action. These are differences. So we need to create a kind of solidarity which is socially closeness. We should appreciate whomsoever we feel that they are taking the right direction or right stand. So we support what you suggest. We are making efforts in that direction, that all organizations should unite and create a political platform so that other organizations could also be made part of the bigger movement.
धन्यवाद जोगिंदर सिंह जी। एक
Thank you
और
very much, Joginder ji.
में से हम
There is
बात
another
करें।
question in the chat.
किसान
It's
आंदोलन
Hira
में
Singh.
दलित वर्ग की क्या भूमिका है और आंदोलन
What
में
is the
उनके
role of
हित के
Dalit
रक्षण
community
लिए
in
क्या
the
किया
farmers?
है? वो इसलिए सवाल पूछते हैं कि दलित वर्ग के पास जमीन नहीं है, वो मजदूरी पे निर्भर हैं और उनको हमारे समाज में अपमान की
Dalit community is landless and they depend on the labor. So they are looked down upon. What is their role in your opinion?
आपके सवाल का जवाब देता हूँ।
Let me respond to this question.
दलिਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਰਿਸ਼ਤਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ
Our
ਬਹੁਤ ਅਸੀਂ
relation with workers and Dalit community, we have tried our level best to forge unity with them. So their participation is a big issue as they depend on the income which they are earning from daily wages. So they are, most of the people are hand to mouth, so they can't spare so much time that they can be part of a indefinite struggle. So they have participated in the struggle according to their convenience. So they came in big numbers at different points. At times they came in the number like 2000 or 500. They have participated in the local events. So whenever there was call in Punjab or at district level, workers have participated in those struggles. So they have an issue that they can't be part of permanent struggles. Our organization is working in 1600 villages. So whenever the farm worker union mobilize people and organize protests, so we contribute in to their organization. So we collect wheat or paddy from our village level units and contribute to their funds. So we collect 50 kg sack from every village and contribute to farmers unions. So we have contributed to the relief of people who lost their jobs during corona restrictions. So we contributed around 10 million rupees in that relief work.
धन्यवाद धन्यवाद जोगिंदर सिंह जी। अब हम एक सवाल
very much.
सभा में से लेंगे। गुरसेवक जी प्लीज
We'll take another question. Gurusevak will ask the question.
Thank you, Radhika ji.
Thank you, Radhika. Joginder ji has explained things in detail. So while responding to the questions and during his speech, he has stressed that unity of the farmers organization is important at all India level. Recently, there was a platform and more than 500 organizations participated in that. And thereafter, when there was protest against the farm laws, so organizations from Punjab, so there were around 300 organizations. So around 30 organizations from Punjab, and then they joined the protest in Delhi. Ekta Ugrahan took a stand that they are not part of any collective or Samyukt Kisan Morcha. You decided that you will be coordinating with them, but you are not part of them. What was the reason of taking this stand? So as far as issue of staying alone is concerned, so we were part of a collective struggle. So whether there were 17 organizations or 8 organizations or 9 organizations or 30 organizations, during this protest, there are certain issues, and due to those points, we decided not to be part of their platform. So we were not part of the platforms which they formed earlier. So we were not part of the Samyukt Kisan Morcha. But we have solidarity on the issues. So now we are part of Samyukt Morcha. So we are part of the 9-member committee. We are not part of that 32 organizations platform which is called Samyukt Kisan Morcha. So our point was when organizations struggle collectively, that decisions should not be taken on majority and minority. Suppose all the organizations say that we want to take this particular decision, and if we feel that we disagree with that, so this majority minority is a difficult issue. So there should be consensus. So we need to convince the people who disagree, and it should be a consensus decisions. The second point was that no political leader should be allowed to speak from the stage. This, they agreed on it. So due to the first disagreement, we were in coordination with them. So there was no confusion about the coordination. We were very sure. We told them that they can decide in their meeting and we'll be part of the implementation. So it was not like that we want to find alone. So we agree with collective struggles. So there was no point when we showed our differences, and it was not about collective decisions. There is another question from Balraj Chima.
हाँ जी, मैं अनम्यूट किया है। मेरा क्वेश्चन तो नहीं बल्कि एक कमेंट है छोटा जा।
I don't have a question. I have a small comment to make. I heard Mr. Joginder. It was very good speech. I congratulate Radhika for moderating it in such a fashion. My comment.
कि जिमें विजय होरां ने एक पॉइंट के उत्ते जोर दिता सी कि क्यों ना असी अपने सियासी नुमाइंदे जिहड़े ने पार्लियामेंट च पहुंचाइए।
As Vijay stressed that why shouldn't we send a representative to the elected bodies. I totally agree with Joginder Ugrahan on that point, that corporations are not in favor of people.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਸ ਦੇਸ਼ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਟੇਕ ਓਵਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ।
But I know that corporations are taking over wherever they are based on people's resources, and corporations are running the governments in different countries.
Democratic elections hold ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਚੁਣਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ।
So there are countries which have democratic governments and people elect government, but corporations are making the policies. Mr. Ugrahan has elaborated it really well.
Education ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ greatest ਸੀ ਜਾਂ longest ਸੀ।
I feel that this was an agitation which was not just greatest and longest, but
farmers ਦੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਸਨ, ਕਾਰਪੋਰੇਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਨਾਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਢਾਹ ਢੇਰੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸਨ।
such struggles were forcefully
ਜਿਹੜੀ unity ਜਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ
dealt by the governments in Europe and in North America. This agitation was not just the biggest in the world, but in my knowledge, this was the first of its kind agitation where was such a long and big agitation continued, which created a kind of history. This is unprecedented. As I said in the beginning, that this is my comment, it's not a question.
ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਅੰਦੋਲਨ ਨੂੰ
I appreciate all those people who participated in the struggle and who made the present state possible and the victory possible. So they have forced state and the corporate world withdraw. Thank you very much.
बहुत धन्यवाद चीमा जी। अब टाइम हम 2 घंटे हम सभा में चल गए हैं।
So it's already 2 hours.
कि जो बाकी के 3 सवाल हैं, मैं विनती करूंगी सबको कि आप सब संक्षिप्त सवाल पूछें।
So there are 3 questions. I request people to ask questions briefly. So we will ask these questions and then we will ask Mr. Joginder to respond. Thereafter, Mr. Vinod will give vote of thanks. Daljit will ask the question.
मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जिद्दां ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਸੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੈਂਡ ਹੋਲਡਿੰਗ ਹੈ ਉਹ
You mentioned in the beginning the land holdings are really small. So it is less than 5 acre with most of the farmers. In UP, it is even less.
ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਨੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਕ 1 ਏਕੜ ਜਾਂ 2 ਏਕੜ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ
We know that despite this victorious struggle, most of the farmers will not get something substantial. Is there any option which will reduce the burden on the sector of agriculture?
ਜਲਿਆਂਵਾਲੇ ਬਾਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਚੇਂਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁਣ ਅਮਰਜ਼ੋਨ
We know that history is really important and the government is appropriating the memorials and museums. It has happened in Jallianwala Bagh and it is happening in Delhi with India Gate, etc. Any comment on that?
धन्यवाद दलजीत सिंह जी। प्रीतम सिंह जी, आप अपना सवाल पूछिए।
Yeah, this Preetam Singh.
ਦਲਜੀਤ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਖੇਤੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ
Daljit, as far as agriculture sectors is concerned,
जोगिंदर सिंह जी, हम 3 सवाल आपको पूछेंगे और आप सबका एक साथ में अगर जवाब देंगे तो अच्छा होगा, ठीक है?
हाँ बोलो जी, बोलो तुम बोलो, चलो मैं कैसे जवाब दूंगा।
प्रीतम सिंह जी,
okay, Preetam, please go ahead.
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ
My question is to Comrade Joginder Singh Ugrahan is about the parliamentary politics. I share your concerns.
ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। They can
I
complement.
understand that we should see that parliamentary politics and extra parliamentary politics, and we need to understand their relationship.
ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੇ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਜਿਵੇਂ
So we have seen that there were countries where there were extra parliamentary struggles in countries like Chile and Peru, and those struggles continued for decades. Those were armed struggles.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਜੀਨਸ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਔਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ
So,
ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ
so they are trying to change the constitution, and a school teacher is a president, and they are trying to make new constitution over there. Second is about the people's elected member.
ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੈਰੋਲਿਨ ਲੁਕਾਸ਼
In England,
ਉਹ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਚੁਣੇਗੀ
there is a leader from the Green Party.
ਆਰਮ ਦੇ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਲੜਦੀ ਹੈ
Despite being in the parliament, she struggled against the nuclear and for green policy, and she participated in the protests and struggles.
ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ
I think you should think about this.
ਦੋਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਝਗੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ
So there is no conflict between parliamentary politics and extra parliamentary politics.
ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ
So it is possible that elected members can influence the governments and the policies. This is my suggestion.
धन्यवाद प्रीतम सिंह जी। अवतार सिंह जी, आप अपना सवाल संक्षिप्त में कृपया।
हाँ, बिल्कुल।
Now Avtar Singh will ask the question.
मैं सिर्फ एक इन्फॉर्मेशन साझी करनी है सारे जिले अपने
I have to share some information.
इसी तरह का ही एक प्रोग्राम अगले एतवार 6 फरवरी ਨੂੰ ਜੀ
So we are organizing similar program on February 6. Pavel Kesa, who is editor of Suhi Surkh Lee, so he will make his president. So I'll share the ID number, which you can note now. So the Zoom ID number is 841 2016 5539. Passcode 021609. You can contact me in Vancouver for more information, or you can contact Baldev Rappa in Ontario. It will be same time on 6th of February. Thank you very much.
जी, अगर आप अपना जो मीटिंग आईडी और पासकोड वगैरह इंफॉर्मेशन चैट में रख देंगे तो सबको मिल जाएगा।
It will be beneficial if you can put the
धन्यवाद।
Zoom ID and passcode in the chat. Joginder Singh will respond.
ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਦਲਜੀਤ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੀਤਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਦਾ ਦੋ ਸਵਾਲ ਦੋ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਜੀ
I have two questions by Daljit and then Preetam Singh.
ਛੋਟੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਨੇ 2-2.5 ਏਕੜ ਵਾਲੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਨਕਮ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ
So the first question is about the marginal farmers who find it difficult to make the ends meet. So their concern is right. So the main question is that farmers should have substantial land of land holding, which is sufficient enough for survival. So there is uncultivated land, and that land can be distributed among farmers, which will make it viable.
ਜੇ ਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਦੇ ਸਾਧਨ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ
If there are means of employment and the children are in a position to take education, why will they go for agriculture? the percentage of people involved in agriculture will automatically decrease as people will get employment in the other sectors. So once the people are shifting towards other sectors, there will be no shortage of land. Now the second question is of Pritam Singh about the parliamentary politics. We believe in democracy. So this is beyond my intellect. I belong to a mass organization. This question should be asked to political parties. But as we are supposed to indulge in debates with political parties, so I am responding to a question which is beyond my intellectual capacity. So there is a democratic system in the organization. If I'm a president, I have been elected by the cadre. So it is about the awareness of the people who are electing people for the state assemblies and parliament. That is a crucial statement. So if the people are aware, then they can elect people for the parliament and assembly. That is my response to your question.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जोगिंदर सिंह जी.
Thank you very much, Joginder ji.
राजनीतिक विज्ञान की प्रोफेसर होने के नाते आपका आखिरी जवाब मुझे बहुत ही दिलचस्प लगा, क्योंकि आप जो बता रहे हैं कि अगर एक्स्ट्रा पार्लियामेंट्री और पार्लियामेंट्री यानी कि संसदीय और गैर संसदीय फोर्सेस को मिलाना है, तो शायद इसकी जिम्मेदारी पार्लियामेंट्री पार्टी को लेनी चाहिए.
As you are saying that if there is a meeting point between parliamentary and extra parliamentary politics, then the mainstream political parties should take the responsibility of such unity.
धन्यवाद. अब हम श्री विनोद मुबाइक के साथ जाते हैं. वो कुछ आपको धन्यवाद के शब्द बोलना चाहते हैं.
Thank you very much. Now Vinod will give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Radhika. साथी जोगिंदर उग्रान जी.
Thank you, Radhika. I thank Mr. Joginder Ugrahan.
अवतार सिंह ने पंजाबी में कर दी है, मैं अंग्रेजी में उसको पढ़ देता हूँ जो पंजाबी नहीं समझते. तरकशील सोसाइटी कैनेडा is organizing a Zoom meeting next Sunday, February 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time or 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the topic of Punjab.
Here he is reading the details about the meeting that they are organizing on February 6th, in which Pavel Kusa, who is editor of a revolutionary magazine called Surkhli, will be the speaker. Now my duty is that we all are here. So it is my responsibility to thank Mr. Joginder, who spared his valuable time to talk to us. We are really thankful to him. He made us understand that election and struggle so that election is less important as compared to struggle. We need to understand it, that struggle is more important. Election is routine thing, whereas we should collectively participate in the struggles.
फैज अहमद फैज का एक मिसरा याद आता है.
I recollect a couplet of Faiz Ahmad that there should be an army of our people.
तो किसान
It is a
आंदोलन
couplet by Faiz which talk about that there should be an army of people, or you may call people's army. So here Joginder Ugrahan has illustrated that the army of farmers and workers is fighting against the forces of darkness.
इसके लिए हम सब जोगिंदर जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
We
करते हैं
thank Mr. Joginder.
और इस इवेंट के ऑर्गेनाइजर्स का
We thank the organizers of this event and the participants.
थैंक यू
We thank them all.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया विनोद साहब।
Thank you very much, Vinod.
जोगिंदर
Thank you
साहब,
very much
आपका
from
भी
my
बहुत
side.
शुक्रिया। इस सभा में आप सब लोग जो आए हैं उनका भी बहुत
So
शुक्रिया।
all
और
those who
आप
joined
सच में फिर से वो
this
जो
meeting,
सात
I
संगठन
thank
हैं
you
जिसने,
all.
इस सभा को प्रायोजित किया है उसको मैं धन्यवाद दूंगी।
So I thanks all those organizations who made this event possible. So the Vancouver-based South Asian Network for Secularism and Democracy, the Montreal-based Center for Research and Study in the South Asia,
एडमंटन से है इंडियन फार्मर्स एंड वर्कर्स
there is Indian Farmers Support Group from Edmonton and Vancouver,
जियोपॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी रिसर्च ग्रुप। तो आप सबका
Geopolitical
बहुत
Economic
धन्यवाद जोगिंदर सिंह जी।
Research
और
Group.
बहुत
I
बहुत
thank
धन्यवाद। Thank you।
again to
और
Mr. Joginder and all those who
जो आप
participated
अपना
in
संघर्ष
event.
जारी रखिए और आपको बहुत
You
बहुत
please continue with the
सफलता
struggle.
मिले ये हम
We
चाहते
wish
हैं।
you
बहुत बहुत
success.
शुक्रिया।
Thank you very much.